You tell them to stop, they look at you, and then they keep going. It feels deliberate. But what looks like ignoring is often something very different. And if you respond to this as defiance, you will accidentally make the behavior worse. In this video, I'm going to show you what's actually driving that behavior and how to interrupt it without yelling, threatening, or repeating yourself 10 times. You tell them to stop touching something in the kitchen. They make eye contact with you and touch it again. You say no more spitting. They grin and do it again. You correct them about touching or hitting their sibling, and they go right back to doing it again. It looks like ignoring, and it looks like they're testing you. And this is what most parents do. They either repeat themselves louder or try to ignore it completely, which is advice we have all heard. Both can backfire. Have you ever heard, don't give attention to bad behavior? If you react, you reinforce it or just ignore it. And sometimes that works, but sometimes that escalates the behavior and makes it worse. And here's the part that's so easy to miss. You interpret your child's behavior as defiance. You'll respond differently. You might respond in a way that escalates the behavior, even if you're using calm words. And here is where it gets really important. If you interpret your child's behavior as disrespect, you'll respond with frustration. If you ignore it completely, you might accidentally reinforce the loop of them not listening. So what's actually happening? There isn't just one reason that toddlers do this. If you want to learn more about getting your toddler to listen and why they do the things that they do, hit the like button so I know to make more of these videos. So I'm going to go over a few different reasons why your toddler is doing this. I know it's frustrating. I am right here with you, okay? So the first one is nervous system activation. Sometimes your child is dysregulated, and impulse control, the ability to stop, is offline. Stopping mid-action might not be a skill they actually have in that moment. And repeating stop won't build the skill that they need that isn't online. Another reason is a connection check. And sometimes this can look like attention seeking, like they're trying to act out to get your attention. But it's not always about needing more connection. It's also about uncertainty. You're holding the baby, you're cooking, you're busy. Your toddler doesn't know where they fit into that moment. So they touch, they interrupt you, and they escalate. And it's not because you didn't connect earlier. A lot of parents will tell me, but I spent intentional time one-on-one. I said 10 minutes, we did this activity, we colored together, we did this. Why is this still happening? I did the thing I was supposed to do. I gave them the connection they needed. So it's not because you didn't connect earlier, which a lot of parenting advice will say is what you need to do. But it's because right now they feel unanchored. And if the only response they get is stop, go away, not right now, that uncertainty increases and behavior gets louder. Have you ever noticed a moment while you were busy and your toddler started acting out? It could be this. So sometimes it becomes a rhythm. So this is another reason why your toddler might not be listening to you when you give instructions, because it's become a pattern or a rhythm. They act, you react. They act again, you react again. And here is something subtle. If you repeat yourself over and over again without following through, your words start to lose weight. But there is a balance here. Sometimes they're actually not ignoring you. They're absorbed in what they're doing. They're half processing what you're saying from across the room with already limited contextual abilities. So this isn't about never repeating yourself. It's about making sure that you're close enough that they can actually hear you. And don't let repetition replace action. And the last reason your toddler might not be listening is developmental experimentation. So yeah, sometimes it's developmental. Dropping food, throwing objects, repeating sounds. Your child is wiring cause and effect. They're practicing autonomy. If we misread exploratory repetition as defiance, our nervous system rises. And that's when the moment escalates because we respond emotionally instead of strategically. If you want more help with your toddler in supporting them with strategies instead of emotionally reacting, get my guide linked below. Pinned to the top of the comments, the Tantrum and Behavior Guide, the 7 toddler struggles and how to solve them fast. So what happens is if we stay in verbal repetition, we can accidentally lean into reactivity, becoming more reactive with our child. So they act, you respond. They act again, you respond again. It becomes a pattern or a cycle. that is setting a rhythm. And the way that I describe this to the parents that I help in my courses and my live online classes is the toddler reactivity loop. And you don't break the loop with better scripts, which Instagram will have you think otherwise. In the moment you break it, by changing the structure or the environment, not by better words. If anything, you might hear me say, use less words and be more concise. Proactively, you break it by understanding the pattern that the moment came from. And if you want to understand more about breaking the pattern by adding more structure and using the environment to your advantage so you can parent more effectively by doing less, make sure to watch my video about why structure is a critical piece of parenting that so much advice is missing. The video is called Gentle Parenting Isn't Failing. It's missing this one critical thing. I linked it right here above for you. So when I was teaching preschool, we had this defined play area. Kids could play and build toys together. So one child started throwing toys at all the other students. And I could tell immediately that she was overwhelmed and overstimulated. I could have said, stop throwing, we don't throw, or that's not safe, and repeated that 10 times. But that would not have shifted her state. So instead, parenting through regulated leadership, I knew what I needed to do. It was pick her up and move her out of that environment, out of that play area for her safety and the safety of others. And the throwing stopped immediately as I did that. Not because I punished her, not because I shamed her, because I changed the structure and the environment. That's leadership. It's not louder words or more words. It was a structural interruption. So I'm actually going to apply this to a hitting scenario. Have you ever felt like, your toddler's hitting you or doing something like that and they just won't listen no matter what you do? And you probably use scripts online that say like, you're allowed to be mad, but hitting's not okay. I'm not going to let you hit me, but it doesn't feel like it's helping. So if you've told your toddler no about something and they keep hitting you and you keep reinforcing everything you're supposed to say and they keep hitting you, I'm going to walk you through that situation. So let's say a parent says calmly and regulated, we don't hit, that hurts me. And your toddler keeps hitting you. So if a parent says, we don't hit, that hurts me, and their toddler keeps hitting them, and then the parent repeats it again, that parent is not wrong for setting a boundary, but they're stuck in a loop, what I call the toddler reactivity loop, which I mentioned earlier. So if stopping mid-swing isn't a skill that your toddler has yet, repeating stop isn't going to change the outcome. So leadership means something else. It means standing up, moving out of range of the hitting, shifting the environment in some way, interrupting the rhythm, the pattern that keeps repeating. It's not punishing, it's not yelling, it's not abandoning. You're choosing not to stay in reactive repetition. Moving out of the way is not abandoning your child. It's regulating the environment. Sometimes our expectation is that we shouldn't have to move. We shouldn't have to do certain things. But if our child doesn't have the skill yet, staying there is reinforcing their hitting behavior. So if you feel like your toddler is ignoring you, move closer. Reduce words, block access to hitting calmly, change the scenery if needed, interrupt the loop. You don't need harsher discipline. You don't need better Instagram scripts. You need to shift the pattern. So even though it can feel like it in the moment, you're not being disrespected. You're not being manipulated by your child. You're seeing an immature nervous system practicing, testing, or stuck. And when you respond with structure instead of repetition, the loop and pattern changes. You don't need to be louder. You need to lead differently. If this helped you see the pattern of your child not listening and the behavior that felt before like disrespect, and you've had a shift in how they act and how you react, this is the lens I teach. Not behavior first, because when you understand the state, the strategy to use becomes clear. All right, parents, I'll see you in the next video.